Well, good morning everybody and welcome to yet another Sunday morning show. I don't know where I keep coming up with all these ideas for these Sunday morning shows. They keep coming around very quickly. But as always, in association with golfing days, we'll come on to golfing days because we've been away this week. We've been away for the Ryder Cup match, DHG versus golfing days. It's very busy out here this morning, as you can probably tell. I'm out of breath. I feel like I'm running around the golf course trying to get ahead of all the golf. Anyway, let me just carry on and I'll talk to you about what I'm actually doing out here. Well, the first thing you've probably noticed, as you see from the B-roll of us starting out this 9-hole adventure, is I'm not playing off the white tees. I'm actually playing off the red tees. So these are the women's tees here at Churston. Much further forward tees. I was even contemplating playing off the black tees, which are like the junior tees, but I decided that they're a bit far forward. So, and the reason why I'm doing this today is, if you saw recently, Bryson DeChambeau shot 58. I mean, wow. I didn't see it personally, but obviously I saw it all on the news. I then saw his press conference, and one of the things that he mentioned,
go up to the red tees and try and shoot sub 60 rounds.
When he was growing up, he actually used to go and play off the forward tees a lot of the time. And the reason why he was doing this is because he was trying to get himself to feel comfortable being a lower score than what he would, let's say, be off the back tee. So if you've ever been in a position, which I'm sure you all have, where you are 5, 4, 5, 6 under your handicap, you start to feel a bit of the pressure. You want to just get into the clubhouse. You don't think about trying to go lower and lower and lower. You want to sort of say, oh, I'm happy at 4, I'm happy at 5, let me just get in now. I've been there, I've done it. I've shot scores of, well, my lowest score was 8 under par, and actually that was with my brother Paul playing in a little game that we played down at Yelverton, just a little knockabout. But in the tournament I've shot 7 under, I've shot a couple of 7 unders actually, I've shot 6 under, shot 5 under, and in every round that I've been that far under par, I get to like 16 or 17 and I'm like, oh, can we just end this round now? Whereas Bryson, what he wanted to do was keep pressing on. So he wanted to get that 59, but then he ended up getting a 58, and it just kept going from there. And that's an amazing mindset to have, one of which you've got to train yourself to get into that mode. And this is what he used to do. Forward tees, how low can you go? But one thing you have to be mindful of when you're doing this is you've got to change the line of where you're teeing off to from the tee, because obviously the angle that I took that was trying to get a little fade down there, out of bounds, hugging down the right hand side. So I'm always avoiding that by aiming up the left, trying to get a little fade. But off the back tee, that would have been absolutely perfect, middle of the fairway. Off the forward tee, through the fairway, into the thick rough. Got away with it because I had such a high lofted club coming out of there, 145 yards, hit a 9-iron. Just chopped it up into the air, so it's kind of there or thereabouts, but got to think about the lines off the tee. Oh, it's a blimmin' good idea that I bring my putter every time I come out and play golf, isn't it? So actually, a lot to kind of get through in this video. Got a lot of updates for you. Got a bit of an update that I wanted to talk to you about with regards to the Challenge Tour and what happened to James Ruth down there. Some of you may have seen the statement that I put out about him, and I'll come on to that in just a minute. Joe the Pro. I want to talk about Joe the Pro because Joe the Pro's got a new job. So I thought I'd share that one with you as well, because that's quite exciting. That was a waste. And also, we've got the members area. Now, for some of you who have already been over there and maybe seen it, but we've had a little members area where it's kind of to create a bit of a community. But many people over the years have sort of said to me, Dan, how do we contribute towards the channel? How do we give a little bit of something back to the channel? And instead of just sending money, I just set up this little Patreon membership area. I could go in there and start to do some live shows when we had time from the studio. I was doing some little giveaways on there, which will continue in some way, shape or form. It's a little bit harder now because a lot of these companies are actually kind of almost like pulling the plug on giving stuff for us to give away, which is a little bit of a challenge, but ultimately it's the way of the world right now as we see it. And one of the main reasons we went over to Patreon was because it was an easier platform to use. It was pretty straightforward from a management side of things in the office. YouTube's membership area was a little bit, well, I called it kind of a little bit hit and miss. It wasn't the best setup. Now, we've done a little bit more research into it, and YouTube have improved what they've done with their members area. So we've kind of moved everything over from the Patreon over to the YouTube, trying to keep it all in one place, which is kind of ideal from a management point of view. So for those of you that have been involved in Patreon, thank you so much. For those of you that have moved over, amazing. And it's no obligation either side. So if you guys want to get involved in the members area, I will be doing more with it over time. I need to create more time to put into it, but I will be doing more with it. So hopefully if you do come over and you want to join the community within the channel, and there will be some things over there happening which you wouldn't, let's say, see on the main channel. So if you want to be involved, just have a little look down there by my name and you'll see a little join button. Have a little look at it for yourself. Cool, I've absolutely buttoned that. Now moving on to James. So really disappointing, really actually quite upsetting when this all sort of unfolded. What kind of happened with James Ruth and his challenge tour start down at St Mellion, which was all agreed to me in writing, well actually through a third party, but we'll come on to that in a moment, in writing on the 7th of March. And to state that the winner, basically the winner of the big match that we played between Joe and James, the winner of that match would get a challenge tour start down at St Mellion. Now you got to remember, when we set this big match up, we weren't looking for a challenge tour start. It was purely a way of hopefully having an opportunity to raise some money for the two lads, to help them on their way with their season playing golf, because traveling, competing, it's very expensive. So it was a way in which we could try and generate some income from some sponsors and dish it out to the boys. Whoever wins £5,000 first prize. However, a really good friend of mine had some great contacts within the game of golf and knew the promoters of the event really well. So he contacted the promoters of the event and they said, yep, no problem, we can offer a sponsor's invite for the challenge tour. To cut a long story short, the end result was there was a cock up. So there's 50 invites every challenge tour event, which I didn't realise that. James wasn't on that list of the invites. And then what happens is when players drop out, they have to then go through the whole order of merit to come up with who's going to go in next. So it has to be done in a seeding order, which is completely fair. I fully understand that. But ultimately, James's situation was he didn't get a chance to play at St Mellion, which was just around the corner from him. He was on form, playing some great golf, and an opportunity to do well, which might put him forward to getting ahead of first stage at Tour School for next year. That's what he was kind of gunning for. Didn't happen. I'll just play this shot and explain a little bit more as to what he's got as compensation for not getting into the event. Wedge game's getting a little bit better. So the compensation that James has got is that I actually spoke to the promoters in the end. I was kind of keeping out of it until everything had kind of come to the point of where it was right on the knife edge whether he was getting in or not. I actually spoke to the main guy within the promotion of the event, and nice as pie, held his hands up. Administrative error from their part, which meant James didn't get in. Compensation for James for that, he offered 3 Challenge Tour starts at the beginning of next season. We were kind of pushing for James to get Challenge Tour starts for this season because he'd already had a top 10 finish at Val-André, which would have then again given him an opportunity to bump up. However, because of the cut-off point, which is this week now at Scotland, because of the cut-off point that the points needed to be in for you to get through to Tour School second stage, James wouldn't have had enough time to be able to, he'd need 2 tournaments basically to get himself to that point. St Mellion would have been one, Scotland would have been the other, but because it was only Scotland, he decided to take his 3 tour starts for next year. So that's where we're at this point, which, to be fair, 3 starts for James, beginning of the season, might just kickstart him on for the rest of the year. I've just grabbed him, the main man, our course manager here at the golf club. Right, just a quick one, because we're not the only golf course, are we?
No.
That does their greens this time of year.
Nice.
I remember when you came up with it. Well, you came up with the idea of doing it.
Yeah, gosh, it's got to be 20 years ago. We used to do it after finals day,
October.
first week in October.
Yeah.
And obviously they just don't recover. So you've got bad greens all through the winter, and there was a few clubs bringing it in, so we trialled it,
Yeah.
went to the board, bit of pressure first year,
Yeah.
if it's going to work, and it works, and it does work.
I'm putting on the greens, Kelv, and I know you did them at the beginning of the week. They're fine.
They're fine, yeah.
Absolutely, they're recovering. You can see how quickly they're recovering this
Yeah,
time
I
of
mean,
year.
Monday they were verti-drained,
Yeah.
10 inches of down, verti-cut, double verti-cut first, take the lateral growth out, and then probably 35 tonne of sand on.
Yeah.
Managed to get it all brushed in on Monday.
Can't see the sand at all.
No, it's all gone.
Yeah.
Tuesday the forecast wasn't very good, so we
Right.
had drizzle, which helped.
Yeah.
And then I've been watering quite heavily, and we fed them on Tuesday morning, so they're growing. They're going to be a bit slow, but
Yeah.
no, they're fine.
Yeah, it's good.
The local clubs are doing it this week as well.
Yeah.
So no, it works. It works. People have just got to accept that for 5-6 days they're not going to be great.
It is what it is.
Yeah, and from now on we ain't got to touch them now till end of October.
Now then, Joe the Pro, as I said before, has got himself a new job, which I'm extremely excited about, because there was a chance that Joe was sort of going to come out of golf completely, which I would have been really disappointed about, because keeping good people like Joe the Pro in the game is, to me, extremely important. There's so many people that I know over the years that have walked away from the game of golf because jobs are a little bit harder to come by. And when I mean jobs harder to come by, good jobs within the game of golf. Somebody like Joe, who's got a fantastic CV, you know, worked at the highest level within the professional ranks in the UK, to not be continuing working in golf is, you know, it's just not good for the game. So Joe, probably from what he's done work-wise with us here on the channel, there was a point there where he was really getting involved, and I speak to him quite regularly about the channel. I speak to him quite regularly about the game of golf, and we have our little rants together about it. But doing the work that he's done within the channel has kind of inspired him to go down a slightly different avenue, still within the game of golf, but a slightly different avenue where he can get into the media world. I'm not going to give away who he's actually working for, but he's now going into a media role. And we all know that Joe is fantastic when it comes to equipment reviews, and he is going to get into the writing up of reviews. So it's a very high-end magazine, one of which everybody will have probably heard of, all around the world, and I'm just really excited for him. It's going to give him opportunity to do it from home. I know that he's got to travel a little bit, but do it from home, and it'll allow him to still have his family life, which is really important to him, and also keep playing a little bit of golf, which is great news. Got ya. Oh. Bloody got you, didn't I? Full Miyagi style. they're still coming. 1 hour 50 for 12 holes these boys behind me have played. It's so impressive to be able to keep up with that pace of play whilst playing golf. But as you can see, I'm not used to it. So back to Bryson DeChambeau and his kind of statement about pressing on when you're on the forward tees and making yourself get used to shooting under par. Well, I mean, what am I at the moment? I'm 2 under par. I've got 2 holes left of this 9 holes, I think 7, which is not great, if I'm honest. What I like about this round so far is I've had so many great opportunities for birdies. I think I've looked at a birdie on every hole that we've played, and not far away as well. So just not maybe holding the putts today. But I feel like I've got 2 holes left and I'm desperately pressing. Like I want to, you can see me hitting driver everywhere and get it as close as I possibly can. I am pressing on, so I'm not fearing shooting under par, should we say. I'm trying to press as much as I possibly can because my expectation levels are that I'm off the forward tees, I should be shooting under par, which is a very different mindset than maybe teeing off the back tees and being under par, trying to steer your way in. That is short-sided, isn't it? Wow. Yeah, I could complain, but that was actually quite lucky. And I will take my birdie and my up and down and run away. 2-7. I can almost go at a direct line of the green there. That's not bad. So moving on to golfing days, as I said, this video actually should have been from the Belfry. Now, I've not played the PGA National Golf Course before, and when I took the camera out to film around there, it was quite busy. There was a lot going on, but there's pylons everywhere. It's a fantastic golf course, but every time you put a camera down, there's a kind of a pylon in shot, which is, you know, I'm a little bit pedantic about little things like that, and it does irritate me. I always try and avoid situations like that, but I just couldn't get away from it. So I thought, oh, okay, that's fine. I'll film it all tomorrow, the next day, on the Brabazon course, because obviously I wanted to get some footage. It didn't stop raining. Therefore, you can't really film when you're taking out £2,000 cameras out onto the golf course, expecting them to stay dry and expecting them to work when they get wet. So I decided to scrub it and come out here and do this today. But the Ryder Cup match between Golfing Days and DHG was a fantastic success, even though the weather was pretty bad on the second day. It was fantastic to catch up with so many of you that watch this channel, that watch this show, to actually play a little bit of golf together, to have a beer together, have a burger together, because we had a nice barbecue. It was just a great opportunity to meet up with so many of you, and it's kind of inspired myself and Lester to do more with it. Obviously, he's still got his channel, which is great. There was lots of people that were there that watched Bernie's channel, which is fantastic. But we kind of want to get things moving again, get the opportunity to meet up with so many of you with little matches or little get-together days. So watch this space, that will be happening. But just a big thank you to Golfing Days for setting that up, to Ollie and Mark, great match, to everybody that attended. It was fantastic to see you all. But let's see if I can finish this round off. What am I now, 3 under par? Let's see if I can get up and down, because I'm just short of the green, so I can get up and down for that birdie. These are too good in shoes to be getting mucky. Just a little shy, but I think it's a pretty much guaranteed birdie. There they go, look, there's the 2-ball that were behind me, chasing me down. They get around this golf course in between 2 hours 50 and 3 hours 10, 6 days a week. That's pretty impressive. They do it purely for fitness. So it's about 6 miles that they walk pretty much every day around this golf course, and they get it with a bit of pace, so obviously scoring's not such a big issue for them. But anyway, there you go, 4 under par that I've shot for those 9 holes, which, you know, probably I could have been maybe even a little bit lower. I got myself into some good positions there, maybe got a bit lucky on 14 there, chipping it and hitting the flag, but I had good opportunities to going under par. How did I feel about that? Well, I didn't feel anxious at all. If anything, because I was off the forward tee, it made me press that much more. And it would be interesting to know what it kind of feels like if you get into those positions after doing this a number of times, when you get a little bit further back in competition. How would you make you feel? 4 under par. I think if I had those last sort of 3 holes left to play here, I would have pressed even more to keep going. I wasn't ready to give up at 4 under par and walk in from that position. So I'd be interested to know, have you ever done this? Down there in the comments, are you somebody that has tried this, gone off the forward tees? Do you play from the forward tees now that these tees are kind of almost like gender neutral tees that we get on the golf courses? I'd like to hear down there in the comments. I'm just heading up to the practice ground because I think something's going on. There they are, look. There they are. Tell me you found the secret, Ben. Tell me you found the secret.
We're working on it.
Now, I'm not going to do this video here today because they're busy doing their thing, but Paul has been talking about doing a little driver fitting. A number of you have been commenting, why does Paul keep using the old products? Well, he's here and he's testing out the new TSR drivers by Titleist, so watch this space. Hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again. I'll see you next week.